I got my dividend share in the bank. You just get a letter. $136 for 6 months or something. So I thought it would be more than that this year because I've got another 50, I don't know. You get them every year, well not every year, got about 3 lots. They've gone up $42 something, they were only $36 last year.
What, shares?
The shares, yeah.
Oh, I should have gone up.
Yeah, but I got the same amount as I got last year, and I've got more shares since then, so I don't know. But I think it's in 6 months, I thought I got them every 12 months.
Yeah, it's normally.
So I don't know what happened, but just goes in your bank. Like, Jodie needed $50 for argument's sake yesterday. Like that 140, that's something you can do something with. You know, it just comes in randomly. You get a letter saying it's in your account. I like the idea. Like if I needed money, you know, that's better than borrowing $50. You know, 40 you can actually do something with, get petrol and smoke.
Yeah.
You know?
And in theory, they should go up each year as you're getting more shares because you get shares at Christmas, don't you?
You don't get shares every year, no.
And they've done good.
Well, they've done good. After June, you usually find out about August, September, and then November is usually when they go with. Like they tell you,
yeah.
And then say November 12th is cut off.
Okay, so today we're here to talk about God, what people believe,
and the influence of religion in
people's
lives,
and the influence of religion in people's lives.
Right.
Okay, so where do we start? The Big Bang. Was there a Big Bang? Do you believe there was a Big Bang?
No, I don't believe there was a Big Bang.
So how do you believe Genesis
happened?
began?
I believe we were all in heaven.
Yeah.
To start with, but
what were we doing in heaven? Okay, describe heaven for me.
Describe heaven for you.
Yeah.
Peaceful. Where everybody, there's no corruption, no evil in heaven. Everyone's just a nice person doing good and kind things for others.
Wouldn't that be boring?
Well, do we live a boring life?
No, but because we get the good and the bad though, so we can tell the difference between good and bad because we know what bad is. So if it isn't bad, it must be good. Yeah.
Well,
in other words, like we know when something bad happens to us, we know that that's bad.
Yeah.
Because we've had good times. Okay, we didn't have good times, we wouldn't know that's bad, we might just think that's normal, yeah? But because we've had good times, we know when things aren't good.
That's right, we had a picture. We've got a picture that's, is it invisible? I don't know, it goes without saying. It's a picture there, or when things are wrong, like, we know it's because we've had that picture. But like you said, exactly like you said, we know what good is to know what bad is.
So, okay, in heaven, in your version of heaven, are we human beings?
Well...
Or are we just blobs on a chair?
Well, my original, for 40 years, my interpretation was we were all going to die and go to heaven if we were good on it, if we were good and kind to others. I just knew God was in heaven and everything would be fine. I didn't really think about what heaven would look like. I just know I wanted to live in heaven because...
Right, but your statement was we all began life in heaven, or we all began in heaven.
Well, I thought that we were all born with our morals, right? Originally, and I thought we were all on the same path to heaven. So we were born knowing that was what we were doing, we were going towards heaven. But if you're bad, you'd have Judgment Day, and that Judgment Day would decide, God would know if you're lying, so you cannot lie about anything you've done in your life. So at that point of time, Judgment Day, you either cross over to heaven or you're sent back. Because you haven't led a good life. In my interpretation, that was. And I didn't want to go to hell, so I eliminated
that. That was your original interpretation?
Yeah, my original.
It's changed since then?
Well, now I understand more about truth. Like, God is truth. Like, if you're told the truth, well, it's good for you, it's good for everybody to tell the truth, because you're not having to cover stories, or you're not sending your psyche all crazy. It's all the right thing. It's when you start telling lies here or playing games or whatever, that's where the problems happen, the confusion happen. If you just Go straight.
Okay, well there's two things here, isn't there? There's heaven and there's God, okay? So heaven is, in your opinion, the place where God resides?
Yeah.
Does God reside in heaven?
Well, that's what I believe.
Okay, so what, in your opinion, does God look like?
Well,
Is he a physical being?
originally I thought that. Originally I thought God was a man in the sky.
Many people do. Many people picture God as, behind the judgment desk. An old man like a Moses type look, with his beard and thing, long
Watch
beard.
too many movies.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Well, when I got sick in 98, I had a dream that I was up the top of the mountain and there was an old shack, and I knew that I had the feeling that I was in that shack talking to God, right? But I was like quantum leaped out, right? And all of a sudden I could see the shack, and just knowing in my heart that I've been there, but I can't recall actually being in there, but I know that, and I was in awe, absolute awe I was with what the world was going to change, absolutely. And Mick was in the sea, and then,
So this is a dream, or
well, it was a dream.
so while you was while you was in the coma, or is that what you're talking about? Or this happened while you was under?
Well, it happened just before that.
Yeah.
That I'd gone to.
Glass of water. Carry on, yeah.
I'd known that I was at the top. I'd known that God was in that shack. Whatever conversation, I don't know what I had. But I came out and I was just absolutely in awe. I was absolutely ecstatic. And I was so happy because the world, I was going to change the world, or my life has totally changed. Really happy, and I got begun. I started skipping. And Mick's,
Well, you think about what God looked like, I'll get some water.
I thought God was a man in the sky. But I don't know what God looks like. I imagine he looked like that. But I can't say, yes, I seen him. Just know that I was in that shack.
Yeah.
But my thoughts were that God lived on the highest mountain. All my life, really, I suppose, without thinking that. That's really where I was going. So really, I've only gone to my form of heaven. But how many people believe God lives in a mountain, on top of a mountain, the highest mountain in the world? Like, I've always believed that. Well, not now, but I did believe it.
I believe in the scientific theory, I suppose.
In the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Can I ask my glass of water while I'm here?
No, thank you.
It's rain.
No, that's just from the tap.
It's Coles water, is it?
No, from the tap.
Oh, okay. No.
I've just filled it up from the tap. Take a glass out of it. Sorry.
So I don't know, Pete, but I imagine
Yeah.
an old person. I imagine, like I said, I know I was in that shack, but I don't know. I was in that shack with God, but I can't tell you what God looks like. I just imagine an old man, very wise old man, like the hermit, sort of.
So, a human form is what you're thinking?
Yeah. But I don't know now. Like, that was then, like, when I sort of experienced it, and then I'll tell you this.
When?
Well, I've told you about this dream.
Probably, but not on video.
Oh, okay.
There's a difference here.
Oh, okay. And I was on the top of the mountain, and I was quantum leap there. I was suddenly just here, but I knew I came out of that shack. It was like boom. And I was just in awe, and I just went skipping. It was just beautiful in heaven, actually. Beautiful. On top of the mountain, right? There was flowers and everything. It was just beautiful. And I saw a bridge. And because I was so excited, I started skipping. And Mick sort of like looked a bit dazed. He wasn't sure what I was doing. He wasn't in the same frame that I was in. Like, he wasn't in that room. He was just here anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started skipping. And as I skipped over, the bridge wasn't built. But I didn't know that. So I started falling then to earth. But I had my arms by my side. And I was falling straight. And I was falling so fast. And I'm thinking, we must have been talking about opening a shop in Bendigo at the time, right, back in our minds. And when I was falling, all I could think is, how can I help Mick now? I knew I had to help Mick with a business. I don't know what the business was, but I had to help. And he didn't know that I was dying. Like, he just seen me in this happy mood, and I'm thinking, I'm dying now. And I got to 2 foot off the ground, and I just stopped, floated, and landed on both my feet. And ever since then, life changed. Life has changed. I opened the shop.
Life didn't change, you changed.
Well, circumstances happened.
Yeah, to
that,
you.
Yeah, to me,
Yeah.
that changed.
Your life changed.
My life changed, yeah.
And maybe those around you, life's changed, but life in general didn't change. As in, you know, the lady who was sewing her
Back already?
son's socks
Gone yet? Oh.
was still sewing her son's socks the next week. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Yeah.
life didn't change for everyone else. It just changed your opinion of life changed.
Well, it changed for me, and like the Easter weekend, like this happened the year before, but the Easter weekend was when life actually did change. You know, the rising of it. I remember circumstances happened that the business was going great, and I just knew, wow, life has changed for me. And yeah, like I said, things started changing.
Yeah, that's because those
And it's
lights
never been
are on,
back.
I suppose. Hey? Yeah, that's because of the lights.
What's your opinion of heaven?
Got no internet inside.
Of heaven, here on earth, we're there.
There, right? You make your own.
As in, when you've got a world where everyone's getting what they want, and everyone gets what they ask for, you end up with exactly the earth we've got today. You end up with so because somebody wants something, they go and achieve that. You know what I mean? So, okay, you expect the rest of the world is a terrible place. Okay, so hypothetically, so if the rest of the world's allowed to be a terrible place because you've expected that, you've allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I believe we are God. We aren't the penultimate God, but we've got the penultimate God inside us. The penultimate God is watching the world through my eyes, listening to the world through my ears, as well as listening to the world through your ears and watching the world through your eyes.
Who's got the ashtray?
You've got one behind you.
Have I?
On the table.
Turn the other way.
Oh, I can see it.
Yeah, so we are God. I mean, like, I believe in the Bible as a book of fables. You know, someone's...
Speaking of the Bible, the prophecy in the Bible was all this weather conditions we're getting today, all this
But
climate.
we've had them all our life, so...
Right, but why are the climate scientists coming on board the last couple of years and saying that they've created a theory, and so we're supposed to all believe in the science that they believe in? Why? What you know, like it was prophesied 2,000 years ago, this weather. So they can't just jump in the last few years and just say we've done all these things. Like, I don't even know what they
Well,
believe.
they can, obviously they have.
Yeah, well, like Tim Flanagan was on TV last night saying the science is proven. What science? What are they actually saying? I don't even know what the science is, do you?
Yeah, man-made climate change.
Yeah, what are they saying? Like,
They're saying that the more shit you put into the atmosphere, the more the atmosphere is reacting badly.
okay, see, my theory of that is you can see all these wars happening around the world. Like, that's getting put out there. That energy is getting put out there. Like, man is responsible for the climate, but we're just too hot-tempered. You know, we need to change to bring down. We need to change our outlook on the world to start bringing the weather. We're all out of control in lots of ways. Lots of people are out of control. They push the boundaries and they're just nasty people. And they do nasty things and all that. Your energy, you like your energy, I'm energy, Chris is energy. If you're going to go around stomping your way, that's the energy you're putting out there. If you're happy and going, that's the energy you're
You
putting
get
out
what you
there.
ask for.
That's right, but you're also creating energy. Each time you're cracking the shit.
Like, okay, every time you say the world is horrible, you're creating a horrible world. As far as I see it. So by you walking around saying the world is fantastic, you are making the world a better place. Not a worse place, a better place, because you're portraying what you want to happen. You're saying the world is great, and really the world is great if you look at the right spots. It's like there's A, B, 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 B. All the A's are great, all the B's are... Pardon?
Not everybody's world is great.
No, but you know, that's because of you just put it out there that not everyone's world is great. So now I agree. You explained it so not everyone's world is great if it was.
No, but there's a difference.
You get what you ask for. Whatever you put out, you get in return. So if you put out nothing but love, you'll get nothing in love in return. If you put out, the world is a horrible place, what you're going to see is the world is a horrible place. Well, if you know that the world isn't a horrible place, there's horrible people within the world, but you can put up with them, they're nothing to do with you anyway. You know what I mean? Like, you just go on like the world is your oyster, and it really is your oyster. It's up to you to run your own life. You know what I mean? God gave us freedom of...
That's right, freedom of speech.
Freedom or free will.
God didn't give us that.
Yeah, yeah, American President gave us that. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you've been given like what I feel is we're all God combined. The whole lot of us are our brains. We've got two parts of our brains, I believe, our front part and our back part.
Yeah.
Our back part is fully connected. Everybody in the whole wide world together makes God. Okay, now it's like a cloud. It's not a cloud.
Yeah.
It's an ethereal cloud, if you like. So let's hypothetically say it's a cloud in the sky, because I don't believe God's a human being, as like the master God, the creator. I don't believe he's a full... he's got any...
Why say he?
Because I'm God. God is fully within me, I am fully within God. So to you, you can say she, and you'd be right, because you are God, and God is a she, in your case.
Yeah.
To me, I'm God, I must be a man. God's a man. As men say, talk about God as he, that's because men are saying he. Like, I'm sure a lot of the preachers know that it boils down to they are God. They can do what the fuck they like. They're allowed to do
I think that.
whatever. Yeah, that's what I believe. And the way a lot of them talk about it is talking about, like, did you watch that Q&A this week?
Yeah.
Which was really good. That was all the religion, etc. Like even the Christian bloke, the churchy bloke.
Yeah.
He was 100% perfect
Oh,
in
no,
his thing.
and the Muslim guy, the one that was in
Yeah,
the
fantastic one,
that's the heaven that I, where all people are just like that. That's, and because people have always been beautiful around me in my life, I couldn't imagine what heaven would be like. You know, if people are this good, like, you know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I believe this is heaven. And I believe heaven would be exactly the same as what earth is, because what you think's good and what I think's good is arbitrary. You've got your own level of good, I've got my own level of good. You know what I mean? So,
that's what it comes back to.
so there can never be a heaven that everybody is having a great time. I believe it's impossible.
Well, no,
because of what you like and what I like is
Heaven
completely
is a state of mind.
unless there's 15 different heavens. Like, how can the Muslim that believes he's going to, go and kill all them people and go in heaven and get 72 virgins and blah blah blah, how can they be in the same heaven as you?
Yeah, but they're not exactly told heaven. They're not going to die and go to heaven. They're
they're going to
like
go to
when they
heaven.
say God, they say Allah. You know, like,
Allah is God. That's the name of God.
But no, not to me. It's not.
It's correct.
So what they think is what they think. Exactly like you're saying.
Okay, so how many gods is there?
Who knows? We're all gods. 7 billion. But
we all combine to make one.
yeah, but the whole idea is nobody really can explain heaven. Like, everyone's got their interpretation, but really there's
Well, I
a
can
story.
explain it. It's here on earth.
Yeah, well, that's
Because
one way.
that's exactly what you've got. You've got everybody trying to be good, but everyone's got their own versions of good. Like, to you, being good might be, I'll strap a bomb to myself and I'll take out all Christians, because that's what Allah wants. You know what I mean? So that's good.
Yeah, but the
as far as
omniscient, but the omniscient God stops that. You know, that the old being.
You've got free will. You can go and
Yeah,
find whatever
but
you
it
like.
doesn't make it right. Like, just
Totally.
because, like, I live my
But
life
God's seen that.
hoping. Yeah,
God watched it through your eyes.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. But there's also it's the way you put a computer together, for argument's sake. You've got all your components. You can't just put a memory there because it goes there. Like, no matter what you do, you cannot put that there. But, everybody's trying to put square pegs in round holes, and like, it just doesn't work. Like, you can't have
I don't get what you mean.
There's that one word called heaven. One word.
Yeah.
Right? How can it mean so much? Like the story of heaven. Like I see Earth as a collage. The story of collages. You can zoom in on any story. Like Peter, for argument's sake. I can just decide I want to find out more about the name Peter. So I've got the name Peter, and it tells me
Seek and
Saint
you shall
Peter.
find.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So everything's already there. You can't change that. Like there is a story about Saint Peter. There's a story about Saint Catherine, and we know Christopher. Saint Christopher. So the story's there. We can't come along and say, no, that's not the story, because what I'm trying to do
We
is
can.
common known things. Like that's common. Everybody. Like you can't deny that there's a Saint Peter, even if you want to. You cannot believe in him, but realistically, in the name Peter, if you really pulled it apart, you would find Saint Peter. In the name Kathleen, you find Saint Catherine, and everything. And then what else would you find, Peter? You'll also find that he was given the gate. He was given the key to the kingdom. Like no matter any Peter in the world can deny it, but it's in the story. No matter what they say, like it's part of the table.
Okay, but all I'm trying to say, I guess, is heaven. We're discussing heaven and what we think heaven is. Okay, so as a kid, you used to believe, it's up in the clouds. You get on the cloud and there's an angel hanging on the cloud playing its harp, and you go.
That is a movie.
Probably, but that's what you used to believe. That's what I used to believe was like that's what heaven was. You go up in the clouds and you go and talk to the angels. But to me now, I'm an adult.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be fun. That would be absolutely boring as shit. Why would I believe? Why would I want to leave this earth of fun and plenty and whatever I want to do to go and do nothing?
Well, you won't be doing nothing.
I disagree.
Right? No, the whole idea.
You won't be able to do anything because the second you do something, someone's not going to like it, and you can't do that in heaven. You can't do something that someone doesn't like because it's heaven.
Yeah, but if you work the word heaven correctly in the first place,
Yeah.
you're using the way it's supposed to be used,
Okay.
right? You wouldn't have all this conflict. Like,
What do you mean you wouldn't have all this conflict?
Well-
You've still got,
The world still exists.
yeah, like.
well, it still exists, but if you're tapping in the word heaven, there's certain. Well, the heaven's there.
Like,
We didn't
you
create
imagine-
it.
But we did create it.
No, we
This
were
is what-
born
this is
into it.
what-
Yeah, but
this
we
is
were
it.
born into it. We were born told about heaven. We didn't come to just decide. Well, we'll just call our place a heaven.
You don't know that for sure.
Well,
Like I know, when I die,
I know, I
I'm
didn't create it.
when I die, I'm going to go to the cloud, and I'm going to choose probably to be my great-great-grandson. So when I come back next time.
Yeah.
So when I do come back to be my great-great-great-grandson, well, have I created it now? You know what I mean? So you might be able to choose
Well,
exactly who you can be in your next life.
Well, I don't know if we can choose
Well, that's
who
right. We
can
believe
be.
we can.
Or we can,
I could say I want to be a dove in my next life and fly and soar through the trees and be a fantastic. But by doing so, I don't believe a dove is smart enough to say I want to be human in my next life. You know what I mean? So I believe you can go to be anything you want. When you die, you can come back to be actually anything you want to be.
dove. Think about it.
No,
Fly
but-
all over the world.
You'd get lost. You'd get lost. Okay, once you're a dove, right? You're a dove forever, alright? You're a dove for that life,
Yeah.
okay? Until you get killed. Now, you might get killed, you might not get killed. You might just die of old age being a dove, which might be, 10 years or something? Okay, but now you've got a dove brain. Fully dove brain. There's no human inside that dove brain. There's only a dove. A dove will never be smart enough to say in my next life I want to try a dog. Or whatever. You're stuck to be a dove until you evolve into a part where in my next life I want to be a chicken, or I want to be an emu, or I want to be, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so by us now, I think we're at the top of the chain. We're at the top of the animal kingdom, if you like. All right. Now, in that sense, that
I see something run across the floor. Don't know if it was a mouse or whatever.
Probably a fly.
No, it was bigger.
it could be a
than
mouse. There
fly.
is one mouse in here, but it comes out of that door apparently.
Okay.
But a man
That's
is
what I
gone.
wanted to do.
Well, Kath did try to save you there. But truth counts.
Yes, that's exactly right. See, that's the thing. Like, if you're being true to you, like, it won't conflict with anything. If it's your
Well, I think
truth.
that's the key. Yeah, I I think that's the key.
Yeah,
Like,
so it's God,
when I come
love,
back, I don't
truth.
want to come back as an animal, because I don't think I'm going to be smart enough. An animal would be smart enough to know he's got a choice of who he comes back as next time. You know what I mean? He's just going to be a dog.
Yeah, but
And
you don't
dogs
know
are
what
pretty
they
stupid.
think.
Yeah, but dogs are stupid. There's no way in the world they would go to their, you know, reincarnation as blah blah blah. I mean, yes, I don't know what they think, and somehow it must have got to the stage where, and like I think it all started. Like originally, there was nothing. Okay, let's go by Genesis.
Yeah.
Alright, originally there was nothing. Then God created the firmament, the heavens and the earth, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, so from nothing, right? Now, if it was like a tiny atom, you know, life began as, say, a tiny atom, right? You've got a tiny atom that all it knows is what an atom knows, which isn't a lot, which is just it might be just to replicate myself. That might be the whole brain power of a tiny atom is just, I need to replicate, I need to recreate, I need to procreate, I need to duplicate myself is what he needs to do, make himself bigger. So, like over time, from that little amoeba, it then grew into a piece of moss, and then grew into, a million years later, it grew into a piece of grass, and a million years later, it grew into a tree that, you know, because it was in the right amount of sun, got the right amount of water, it got to the right spot, and it didn't turn, like we came from monkeys. Exactly the same thing, the tree came from and everything, the whole of life came from a little bit of mould, most likely, is what they say, and that's how human life began, or how life in general began as mould. Okay, so you go to the brain power of that mould, all he knows is to replicate. Like the grass, all the grass knows is to replicate. Like the grass is, that's all it's doing, is replicating itself. You know, what purpose is the blade of grass apart from feeding our wallabies?
But the grass grows like our hair, we're connected, like our hair. If you could connect nature to our hair, how our hair grows, like I said, that's how the grass grows, but it's a different, thing. Like I said, we're all one, we're just all different.
But it's how we all started. That's what we're trying to get to, I guess.
They reckon we started
bottom
from a
of the
crab.
line. Okay, but before a crab came along, we must have started before a crab. We must have started before, you know, what started life off in the beginning. But I think it's thought, myself. Okay, like imagine God is pure thought. That cloud up there is just nothing but pure thought.
Yeah.
Okay, it can be pure love, it can be however you want to describe it, but I'm describing it as pure, just thought. Okay, so the very first thing to create that, you have to create the first thought. Okay, so the first thought is, I mean, probably not the first thought. Probably thought number 40 would have been, it's dark in here. I can't see anything, like it's just dark. Okay, so next thing, because you've realised it's dark, now the lights come on. So in order for that to happen, you know, God created the heavens and the earth, the firmament, the light, the dark, and divided the light from the dark, etc. So all this happened around. All God thought was, it's dark in here, more or less, right? God being the whole, like, remember there's no life anywhere else, this is the first bit of life that came into existence, okay? The life power, all it does is replicate itself, replicate itself, replicate itself. It's now replicated itself to the point where first it needs to see, it needs light, okay? So you know what I mean? When you ask for something, God does everything in his power to make sure that you can get what you've asked for, right? So God moves in mysterious ways. We all know that comment. So you might expect God to do it this way, but God's not going to do it that way. God does it God's way. Okay, so you can't pinpoint and say that was God doing that or whatever, even though we all know that was God that caused that to happen. So our thought, God, is I need to see light. Okay, I need to see. Okay, so in fact, his first thought wouldn't have been light because, or he wouldn't have needed to see because it was only mould. Mould doesn't need an eye. At no point does mould need an eye, but at some stage life must have come into form that needed to have an eye so it could see the lovely world that is created. Okay, so in other words, thought is there. Thought is thinking absolutely nothing. All right, thought is as bored as shit. there's nothing to think about because nothing's happened. Nothing's happened yet at all. So there can be absolutely no thought that you can think of because nothing's happened. So there's an entity that's got no thought at all. And then all of a sudden it has its first thought. And its first thought is, I can't see, it's dark. Okay, so in the Bible it's written, God created the earth, blah, blah, blah. A certain way that they believe that was how it done. Okay, but in reality we know that the planets, God made the planets move into the right spot, so the sun was in the right spot to be able to get, to shine on the earth, to then allow, the sun is needed for everything to live. You need to have the sun. Okay, so when the sun came out, and the sun then just happened to come in the right spot, by random choice, as far as science is concerned, but God moves in mysterious ways, so you can't say it was random. We all know, in theory, the stages of life. You know what I mean? Like you need water to live, you need oxygen to live, you need air and sunlight.
See, and another theory.
And sunlight makes you better. Okay, so God, all he needed to do was see the light. He needed to see what he's created so far. Like he's thinking, he's sitting there thinking, making this cloud. He'd be thinking all sorts of stuff, but not really thinking about a clothesline out the back or a shed out the back, or because none of this has happened yet. All he's thinking about is, how do I get out of this cloud? I'm stuck in this cloud. How am I going to get out of this cloud? All right, so I need to create something that I can come to life on. You know what I mean? So I can be myself, but I can now have a firmament somewhere. Instead of being stuck up in the clouds, or in heaven as the word might be used, you've now got something hard to land on. Okay, so now you can feel the rock, the mountain, the trees, all the things you've created so far in your dreams, in your thinking. If I wanted to live, if I wanted to create somewhere where I could actually survive, this is the circumstances I need. So he's thought about it for probably billions of years. Thought about, he needs to have sunlight, he needs to have this. So he's scientifically worked out in his own mind, or that's all there is, it's just a mind, but he's scientifically worked out these are the steps I need in order to make my presence here on earth. Okay, so he needs to have trees for oxygen. He knows exactly the setup, he knows exactly why that tree's there, exactly why that green grass is there, exactly why he's to have all the right parts in place. So then now he can create man. Say he created man out of dirt.
Dust, yeah.
Yeah, so dirt. So he's taken a piece of dirt and he's blown the breath of life into Adam, but he's created in his image. Okay, so that's what. So now man, or God, has come to earth. God has created man in his image. Okay, so. Again, that was a man who probably wrote that, so that's why it says in his image. If it was a woman who wrote it, it would have probably said in her image. But because a man, I almost guarantee a man wrote that Bible back when.
They say 66 different scholars, but I don't know.
But yeah, all of them were men.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see in the world today.
It was a man's world.
It still is.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
And that's.
But originally, in the 235 AD, when the Bible was first written, it would have totally been a man's world back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Women were just, worse than slaves type thing. So God's created He's created the animals for a reason, because man needs to have these animals in order to eat off. It might have been the other way around. He's created the animals first, and now man's got them, so we might as well eat them to survive. You know what I mean? You don't know how or why that's happened. But the whole thing is based on thought. Okay, so if he never had that thought in the first place, the world would never have existed. But all he's doing is he's putting a little bit of him inside you. But you're fully him. You are God. You are, the whole lot of you is God. You are God to do God's work. But you're his worker, if you know what I mean. He's put you on earth to do what you want to do, given you free will to do whatever you want to do, given you a set of rules to work by, but you're still you at all times. Okay, so but he's only given you. You're all him, but your second half of your brain, the other part of your brain is fully him. Like that is the whole God connected. You know what I mean? Like so, 95% of you is Kathleen to do whatever you want to do, but 5% of you is pure God. That's within your head. That's within your brain.
Yeah.
That pure God side of things, and combined, your God. Like originally, God created one man, created Adam, and he was bored, so he needed to create a woman, so then they could procreate.
I saw a mouse run through the shed just in the
So it all goes from there, in other words.
About a minute.
So are we all created in God's image?
Every single one of us.
See, like that's.
And you're looking through God's eyes. So God's
That's
everything
exactly
you
right.
take in, you are
Yeah.
recording for God. Everything in your ear, everything in your eye, you are recording it
So
for God.
does
This is
that
how God knows
explain-
everything.
Okay, but does that explain why we know what's bad? Like if we've already got the picture of God that we all are good and beautiful people, but you see people do bad things, like
But they don't
that's
do
not
it.
in accordance
It's not
with-
bad to them.
yeah, but it's
There's
bad
some
to us.
logical reason why they're doing that.
There's a reason for everything. That's right.
Yeah.
Like Hitler, the way he was brought up, and so on and so on and so on. But where's the cut-off point? Well, how? Why should we have to put up with Hitlers? Like I'm a good person. I'm doing good in this world, and I'm not creating dramas for
Because you're
anybody.
in this world.
Huh?
Because you're in this world. That's why you have to put up with whatever goes on.
Yeah, well, like
Yeah, but there must
realistically,
be a
Hitler's got
reason.
nothing to do with you. Hitler never affected you.
Yeah,
You're
but
born after
but I'm
him.
just talking in general. Like people in general, right?
Yeah.
Would have seen that and lived. Our ancestors would have lived through that,
Yeah.
right? Would have gone to war because of that.
Yeah.
So
But you know that the reasons behind that, I mean, whether it was because they were after petrol or whether it was because of whatever.
But you don't know that. You don't
but
know
you
that. As a
from-
person that believes in God
Yeah.
and think everybody's beautiful,
Yeah.
people doing that is just not in that image reflected. So now I have to what makes them do that? Like, I believe in God all my life, right? And I saw these people committing having suicide bombers and stuff like that, and I accepted they believed they were doing that for God, right? My thoughts were, how could they possibly think that? Like it is, God an image of good? I mean, it is. God is an image, whether you believe it or not. It's projected as God is the image of, everything beautiful in this world. So for you to do a horrible thing, that's not what God would do. So
Yeah,
it's
but you
not
don't
God
see it as
doing
horrible,
that.
though. You see it as doing God's work. Because God doesn't like Christians. So kill all the Christians as you're doing good for God. You know what I mean? So you're coming from a different angle. We know killing is killing. We don't revere God enough to do His will. That's bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but why wouldn't they know that? How come haven't got the same brain as?
Well, okay, you've had an education. You've
They're
gone
supposed to
from
be really educated.
no, not at all.
No, well, that's
Not
you
at
look
all.
at Windows had to get his education before he sort of got involved with Emma. A lot of them are emphasising, you need to get educated. So that's what they're saying. Like Hamas
Yeah, but okay,
leader and all that, they're all educated.
But that's not saying you're educated. As Wendo or any of his family gone and blown up, someplace? No, because they're not the type of people who would do that. Okay, so, but the people who would do that are the uneducated ones, are the ones that don't know any better. They believe
No,
they're
like
I'm
even-
100%.
Like even in England, they'd go to universities and stuff. They're university students that are doing all this, and you find that it's a lot of universities gathering together that are grouping together.
Yeah, and
these
doctors, I
acts.
saw doctors as well in
Yeah,
the UK, but it's obviously got to be a lack of education though. It's obviously,
but it's lack of upbringing.
your upbringing is you listen to that Iman. All times he's overrides every single thing. He's your Imam. Your Imam is the head of is like a priest of the church. So
like our part.
yeah. But you're brought up to listen to his words at all times. He overrides anything to do with government, anything to do with your country, anything to do with whatever. Your Imam is speaking directly to God. So he's the one that you need to respect. Now, when your Imam says, you should go and bomb the world, blah blah blah. You already know. You know that already. You've got to listen to the imam, whatever the imam says. And if the imam says that what they're doing is bad and they deserve, Genesis 5 or Matthew 8 or whatever is pertaining to today's
Well, where's logic kick into
problem.
Where's logic? Like I said, I accept it.
Well,
But
it's logical to them. Their logic is, and you see that the New World Order is coming to take over. Okay, so let's stop this. I'll go and blow up a few Christians. That's all it is. Now, I mean, you've got the Muslim, you've got the Christian religion, the Muslim religion. Christian religion was written in the Bible in 267 AD or whatever. The Muslim Quran was 860 something. Okay, so 600 years later is the Quran than the Bible. Okay, but the Quran has never ever been changed. Okay, so all right. Back in those days, it was all about religion. I mean, Jesus got sacrificed, etc. The whole world was based on God and godly type stuff. You know, everyone was a believer of some description, but you believed in 50 gods. There wasn't just one single God. There was the sun god, there was the love god, there was the gods for whatever it was. It was that god that looked after that. Isis looked after that. Thor looked after that. All different gods look after different things. It was Jesus who come along and said, no, there's not 4 million bloody gods. There is one God and one God only, and he looks after the whole lot. He's your Holy Father, etc. Okay, so he got a following. Now that 200, a Bible, a book got written about him 200 years after his death, and can't think of the other like Muhammad. He was 600. He was around in 600 or whatever. The Quran got written in 800 or whatever. So it was 200 years after he died. But that's all. It's like the north and the south.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's Jesus and Jesus. Any organisation whatsoever. As soon as 20 people join any organisation, there's going to be 2 at least that are fighting each other.
Yeah.
As in, I don't want you to wear a camera on your head and be there to show us what it's like for a thing, where this one wants to be mayor and wants to, film it, etc. So you're going to have opposing opinions, is what I'm saying. Okay. So in the year 200 and whatever, there was a Bible that got written. Wasn't put together exactly as it is now, but it was the Bible. Okay. So now, over the next 300 years, or over the next 400 years, looking with the astro.
Yeah.
Over the next 400 years, you've had. Sword. There. So over the next 400 years, you've had Christianity getting more followers, right? Then you've got, so at some stage, you're going to have followers that didn't like what that priest said, or didn't like what that bloke said about, and he doesn't believe that was the right way to do it. So he breaks away from the church, and you end up with the Church of England, or you end up because of some rule that he didn't like, okay? That he didn't agree with. So stuff it, what's the best way to do it? Go and start my own religion, and I'll tell you the truth, rather than listen to that bullshit that the preacher is trying to teach. Okay, so now you've already got the Christian thing, and then now you've got a totally different people. The Persians come along now, who are a totally different thing. Now they've heard about Christ, they've heard about the messengers that came and Moses and all those type of things, but they believed rather than follow that track, we'll start our own. And that's all they've done, is they've started their own. Muhammad started it was 200 years after his death when his things got written, so he didn't actually write the Quran. Everyone puts it down to these are words of Muhammad. But that's all it is, just an opposing view to that view.
Well, what I think...
And then this one, because you're an Italian, or you're a Persian, you need to follow the Persian religion. I'm English, I need to follow the Catholic religion because that's what my country is, you know what I mean? So it's the same. So now you've got 4 billion bloody Muslims and 4 billion Christians all trying to outweigh each other, all trying to say, I'm number one, no, I'm number one, no, this is the religion to go, this is the religion to go. Meantime, they're both building up their armies, and the Muslim one wants to wipe out the Christian religion, because the Muslim religion, as far as they're concerned, is the religion.
The problem being today is the collage is all jumbled up. Like I said, I see life as a collage. Now the Egyptian Morsi is the Egyptian president, right? Islam, nothing. Faith has got nothing to do with his role. His title is the president of Egypt. Nothing at all to do with, but he's incorporating religion. That's what they all do. Like, it's a separate story. That's like sort of trying
But
to.
it's not a separate story. It's like Australia is a secular country.
Yeah.
Okay, originally we were a Christian country, but then we
We
decided.
weren't a Christian country.
Then we decided we were going to have a secular country, as in, you know, we learned you can't run a country on religion. You need to have religion get
Yeah, but I know that to
out of
start with.
politics.
That's what I'm saying. They're two different words. Like, to me, everything comes under one word. Like,
But I'm saying Egypt is not a secular country. It's not like Australia who made this decision.
Yeah, but it's not a Muslim country. Like, that
Absolutely
title,
it is.
but that title is for president of Egypt, not Imam of Egypt. And he can't use
But
it
we've
as
got a
Imam.
ruling to say
Yeah, but
we are secular here in Australia. So in other words, religion cannot
Okay, but it
come
shouldn't.
into that.
Okay,
But there is,
It
it
shouldn't
hasn't got
be-
that rule.
but it shouldn't. But like I said, the way, if you wanted to work out the world order, if you really wanted to put the world back in order, everybody would start, like if you've got the title of president of Egypt, start acting like the president. Don't act like an imam, and don't even bring in your faith in. You're there now. They're all Egyptians. There's no Muslims, Christians, and they're all
But
Egyptians.
that's not the rule.
But that's the fact.
But that's not the rule.
I know, but
There's
that's the
difference
problem.
there. Here it's a rule. That's why you haven't got, you know, any time you can argue the fact that gays can't marry or whatever you like, you know what I mean? Because, you know, that's a church-imposed rule, okay? Where in Egypt, church rules the place. So if the church says, the Egypt church says you can't marry, you can't argue against that because the church is the
Yeah,
leader.
but that's what I'd like to stop them doing. Like, I'd like to put them back in their box. I didn't separate the
But
church.
why? What difference is it to you? What's
Because
it
you're
got to do
using
with you, what they do over in Egypt?
Well, because it's creating dramas everywhere else.
But you're trying to enforce your wants on
It's not my
different
want, it's a
people.
fact. They've got a
Must be your
president.
wants.
Where would you find the title of president? You'd find it in politics. You don't find it in religion. There's no presidents in religion there. Imams there.
Business.
Ayatollah.
President of IBM. President of.
That's right. That's exactly. It's a different. It's not a spiritual title.
Just a
it's
position.
Just a position. That's right. But it's not. It's being used to create this religious thing going, and shouldn't be.
But that's their. That's their
That's
cycle
why
of
they're using
life.
it. But that's what's stuffing
That's their
up.
constitution.
Okay,
If you
but
like. Where our constitution separates it. Our constitution says you cannot have religion rule this country.
right.
You know,
But
you
you
cannot go
shouldn't-
by the dictates of religion.
Yeah, but
To
you
run
shouldn't
the
be
country.
going through that anyway. Like to run any country. Like
Why shouldn't you? It's your
because
country. You can do what the hell you
No,
like.
you can't. It's not your
Okay.
country. That country was there before you were born.
But it's still, you live there, okay? And all the people,
So all the
like
people.
Gillard, right?
Yeah.
She lives here.
Yeah.
All the people have chosen her to be the leader of the country, haven't they?
Right.
Okay, so surely
But she's not Australia. She's still Julia Gillard. She doesn't speak for
she speaks,
Australia.
100% she speaks for Australia.
It's like the church in there.
You voted her in to speak for Australia. You voted her in to speak on your behalf.
Okay, but realistically,
But
she's not Australia. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about not what's happening, what's reality here. Australia's made up a different collage of Gillard. Gillard was born in 1961. She was born in September. She's a Libra. She's everything like, you know. But her collage only begins from the moment she's born. Like, Australia was here 200 years. Egypt
She's
was
here
here
now.
200.
She's the leader of the country now.
She's the leader of
She's
the country.
subject to certain rules and conditions. Same as you're given a driver's license. You are subject to certain rules and conditions. Okay? She's given a prime ministership that is subject to certain rules and conditions. Exactly the same as your driving license.
Right, but
You've
she's
got to
not.
follow the rules of your job, don't you?
Okay, but
Like she can't just come along and say we're going to war in Iraq, unless she follows the rules to get us to the war in Iraq.
yeah,
All right.
that's right.
So she can, but she can't.
Okay, I'm just saying, if people used the titles they were given for the correct use, we wouldn't have this problem. Like, if you want to be an imam, call yourself an imam. I'm happy. You can be an imam of Egypt and talk religion, fine. It's in that picture. But a president isn't in that picture. And they're all Egyptians now. They're not Muslims. Like, if you want to, like I said, say he was the head of the Muslim Brotherhood, right? That's fine. He can be that. And he can get all his flock, and they can all listen to. But now he's taken the president of Egypt. That's not that title anymore. Now he's changed roads. He's changed his track completely.
But he hasn't. If
But
it's
he's
not a
trying to-
secular country. That's the point I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, but the point is, a president of a country is a president. Like,
It's
if he-
not though. It's different countries handle different rules. It's like, you know, there's a motel here with a bed and there's a motel here with a bed. This one charges $200, this one charges $100.
Right.
What right have they got to do that? It's a freaking bed. All I'm doing is sleeping in for the night. But there's obviously plenty of reasons why that one's only 100 and that one's 200 though, isn't there?
Yeah, but
You
that's...
just aren't taking them into account. You aren't taking the, you know, the King of England or the King of, the President of Egypt is subject to different rules than the President of America. Because their country's rules are different. That's all I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, but they shouldn't have the... In my mind, words are like...
But it's their country. Why shouldn't they? They can do
Because
what freaking they like.
Because what is country? What, how can I find stars?
It's a bordered
What
state
causing-
with a population
Okay, but
that trades with other countries.
to have a title of a country, you've got to be in the card. So if you're Egypt and I'm in Australia and you're England and we're all countries. That's what lines
But
us
all
all
different
together.
countries.
Doesn't matter, but we're all in the same country
We've all got
collage.
land. We all build houses.
I'm just saying we're all in the same picture, right? Because we're all countries, so we're in the picture of nations, right? And so every nation on earth should be found in this collage. That's what I'm saying here, right? So what else do you find? You find a president, you find a vice president, you find this, you find that. They're all that belong in there, right? So it's play. Say it's a play, right? So this is a play about nations. And so we need, what do we need to bring this play to life? We need presidents, we need this, we need that. But now all of a sudden we want to open a religion here. So now we want to build a church. Like here we build a Parliament House, right? So, because we're a president, because that's what they go in. But there we're building religion. So nothing to do with president, nothing to do with Parliament House. Now we've got a church, and now we're a faith. Like you can't incorporate the two. You can't have one title.
But you can restrict into the
But
rules.
it doesn't work. Like the Ayatollah of
I
Iran.
agree. And
That's
that's
what I'm
a different
saying.
subject.
Well, that's what I'm talking
That's a
about.
different
Is they
subject.
just
But I'm saying within his country's rules, as long as
Yeah,
he
but
follows
he's got
his
the wrong
rules on
rules.
his country, that's correct.
That's right.
And
How do we-
that's
how
where
do-
you need to get to.
That's-
They've got the wrong rules.
That's exactly.
Not they can't do that because they obviously can do that.
Yeah, well that's what I mean. Is in real terms, they wouldn't have problems if they just stuck to their script and their play. Like, you know, everyone likes to go to the movies or likes to see a play on TV and we're seeing about a religion. Well fine, we expect to see a religion, we expect to see angels, whatever we see in a religion, I don't know. Even in, I don't know what we'll see in Muslim Brotherhood, but I'll accept that if it's a religious play I've gone to see. I just won't accept that in a government play. A government play's totally different. Like
But
totally,
it's not though, that's the point.
well, you
Okay,
can't-
different countries are different. Alright, like Australia is supposedly a democracy. America's a republic and a representative democracy, which is a different thing altogether. It's not actually democracy, it's but anyway, but the point is, it's different rules.
Yeah, but I just like...
Every country's got different rules.
Yeah, and I can handle you saying, alright, everybody can have a free car. You're the Prime Minister or President or whatever. Everybody can have a free car. And,
As long as they pay the petrol.
yeah, as long as you pay the petrol, but everybody in my country can have a free car, right? Now that's come from the President or the Premier. I can handle that. Or, you know, over there they say, nah, stuff that. You can buy the car. They don't even do that there. It's like England, you know, the different pensions. You might get some over
Let's go
there.
for a religious rule rather than the car. A religious rule would be not allowed to work on Sundays.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so if my country was ruled by religion, you wouldn't be allowed to work on Sundays. Okay, but this country that isn't ruled by religion is allowed to work any day it wants to.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be a country ruled by religion. I mean, I know it's happening, like you say, it's happening.
Middle East.
But that's why all the friction is. Like, how do you make them understand you're a Egyptian president? You're not Muslim Brotherhood anymore. If you want to step up
Because
to
as
that,
far as he's concerned, an Egyptian president's job is to do exactly what he's doing.
yeah, but he's getting all the riots and everything in the background because they know that, you know, we're Egyptians. We're not all Muslims. We don't want to go to the Sharia law or whatever. So you're getting them all rebuking it. You wouldn't have that problem if you were just a president and acted like a president. You'd have different
But you
sets
would,
of
that's what the
problems.
people wanted.
But well, things should flow. Like all these conflicts in the world, you sort of see why people are stepping out of place. The file's not properly done. Like I said, they're jumping out, they're using powers here for over there and over there. You can't.
I don't get what you mean.
Well, your title is your title. If you're a computer man, you're a computer man, right? That's sort of your title. So you're in a job and you've got...
So you're saying that the president of Oxfam should do exactly the same as the president of General Motors Holding?
No, because
They can't be
Oxfam's a
subject to
charity.
their own rules.
No, because...
But they're both presidents.
Yeah, but they... Yeah, no.
But that's what I'm saying, is just because they're both presidents is irrelevant.
Well, president is not found in a religion.
Who?
That's what I'm saying. The president is not found in a religion. It's the imam, or it's the ayatollah, or it's the
The
pope.
church has a president.
I bet you any money there's a president of St. Vinny de Paul.
Exactly.
But they come under charities. They're a bit different.
They're an organisation. Same as a government is an organisation. Led by whoever they've chosen as their president.
Well, it depends what title you've got. Like I said, if you've got the title of president of a country, you're the president of the country. Doesn't matter who you believe in.
No, but you're taking American values and assigning that to everyone should have American values in that
I'm
context.
just trying, like they find a new planet, for argument's sake. They're looking outside and then, what constitutes a planet? How do they know that that's a planet? Like,
There's a rule though, isn't there?
whatever
Yeah,
it's
like
called.
for planets, for what you're saying, what constitutes a planet.
Yeah,
But there's a
They
rule
have to be
now.
a certain
Like Pluto.
size and all of that.
That's what I mean. Why isn't
That's what I'm saying. The rules
I
are.
think, and the same for a
Like
country.
Pluto's just been tucked out,
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
they're tucking it back in, sort of.
Okay,
Because too many people got upset.
so if you're a country, if you're a nation, you come under the word nation, right? So what constitutes and what makes you Egypt? You know, in my nation, you've got Australia.
But is it your right to say I don't like your rules?
Well, you shouldn't.
You know, which is exactly the same as the Mars Pluto thing.
Yeah, that's what it's
No,
all about.
no.
It's all about arguing
The
your rules.
scientist says no. This isn't according to the definition of a planet. Pluto doesn't fall into that category.
That's right.
Pluto is not a planet anymore. But now people have gone, I don't care if it's not a planet. It's a planet. I've always known it as a planet. It's a planet as far as I'm concerned. But enough people did that to make them go, all right. Well, now we'll have to redefine the rules to allow Pluto to become a planet now. And not only that, there's now 6 more exactly the same as Pluto that they found that they now need to include in the planets as well if they're going to include Pluto in the planet.
Like who
So-
was Egypt to name in the first place? Was it the UN? I don't know. How do you get a planet? I mean, same deal. What constitutes a country? What makes, like, you can obviously see in...
Okay, we might not know why, but there'd be a reason why, wouldn't there? Like planets, we don't know what constitutes a planet, but we know that there's a rule that makes a certain thing that we don't know make a planet.
Yeah, but I don't think those rules are being used. Like, I don't know. Like I said, what makes Egypt, even though it's so different, China is communism. So that's different than what makes China a country. What makes everything? Like I said, what can define you to make you a country?
I presume it's what you can rule over. You know, so like Australia.
Because certain things have to be there. You know, like in a planet, for argument's sake, what constitutes a planet? There has to be a certain size, certain cut, whatever.
There'd be rules.
And that's what I think. And I think, hang on, well, how come Egypt looks nothing like our country? And how come this one looks nothing like our country? Yeah, we're countries.
But the rule might be as many people as you can beat, as many people as you can steal land from. You're allowed to, you know, and that'll make you a country. It's like your house, if you know what I mean. So I live here, alright, but if I'm strong and big and strong, I can kill the neighbours and 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 just steal their land, right?
Yeah.
Now, unless you've got a bigger gun than me, you can't come and take it off me. So I am the leader of my lands, if you know what I mean. It's only, and that's the way it used to be.
Yeah, but to get acknowledged
You
as a
needed to get a
country.
bigger army. It was only the bigger the army you had allowed you to be in existence and spread your wings, go and rape and pillage, as they say. Burn down all the old huts that are on your now property, etc. So because you're big and strong, so might, if you like, strength is what defined a lot of it. The strength of the Ottomans against the English English come along and let's take Turkey or let's take whatever.
But I just want to know how Turkey become Turkey, how England become England, and Australia how did they get a name? And I don't know, like,
Well,
to be called a human being, they wouldn't call a dog a human being because they know a dog's a dog and we're humans, you can actually, whether we're ugly, pretty, whatever, it doesn't really matter, we're just human
we're
species.
within the human rules.
That's right, yeah, that's right. So there must be I just think they're either not sticking to the rules, like they've all just chucked these names in, square pegs in round holes and made all these countries. Like, there has to be a common denominator in all of them to make.
Well, there's lots of common. All right, you're my friend, okay?
Yeah.
So now I live in North Korea, okay? You live in South Korea. They don't get along, okay? So you've got
How can you be friends then?
they don't get along. We're friends, but we're not. We're just from each other's country, okay? So I'm from South Korea and you're from or opposite,
Yeah.
all right? But now we can make deals that's got nothing to do with our government. We can decide, I can talk to you and you can say, well, I can supply 20 people for my army, and I can say, well, I can supply 100 people for my army. So now we've got 120 people. Now we've got two countries that are at war. How can we use those 120 people to make this whole one country rather than two countries? And let's call it mini Japan or whatever we want to call it. We're the bosses of our 120 people. We've got to amass a bigger army till we've got more people or more power than the rest of the country has got, so we can then take it over and then we can call it whatever we want because it's our country. So we want to call it Paraguay, we can call it Paraguay or whatever we want because it's our country. Okay, so
Yeah, but how does it get into
now
college?
it's up to, like now with Barney Marama and all that type of
Yeah.
stuff. He comes along and takes over the country. He says, now I'm the leader of the country. But yeah, so the people who are because we've amassed an army that can overtake that army, we can.
Oh, the Fiji guy,
right?
right?
Barney Marama,
Right.
he amassed an army.
Okay, why has Australia even got anything to do with them?
Well, that's the thing now. It's a choice. That was where I was going
Yeah.
to. It's now, because we've now taken over North Korea and South Korea and called it Paraguay, now we have to start dealing with other countries. Do they want to trade? And if they accept trade between me and you, we're now recognised as Paraguay. These people will recognise us as Paraguay. And we'll have trade agreements in place that we can trade and do whatever we like. Okay, so you've now made new rules. Now, yesterday, I was the leader of Australia, and I was dealing with North Korea and South Korea as separate countries. Okay, so, but meantime, we've got to talk to the two people that have amassed an army, and they seem like they're on a better deal. They'll give me a better trade deal than what these people are giving me. They'll work a deal out together.
Yeah.
And so even before the army is taken over, you know that this person's going to go and overtake them, and when they do, you're going to sign up to that person, and you'll now have free trade between there and there. So you say, okay, well, I'll accept that. So now you're officially recognised as a country.
Okay, but can't the UN say no, like all the countries know what but he did?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you cut sanctions? Wouldn't you like not stop? Like that's the easiest way. So like if you want to behave like that, fine, you can behave like that, but don't expect me to support
Depends
you.
if you did a good thing or a bad thing. Was that one where George and that they got locked up for trying to do the coup? And you remember that? Was that the same country? Was that the same?
Yeah, that was Fiji. That was before him.
Yeah. So you already know that there's turmoil.
But he was behind that. He was behind that, but George mustn't have done it the way he wanted him to. You know how you can tell people to do things, but nobody does it exactly like you think they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And you think, shit, why do you have to really explain every detail of your thought? You just think, I'll move that over there. You don't realise that they're going to throw it over there, around there, and then put it over there.
That's right.
Like, that's
right.
But
Different ways.
you did ask him to do it, so like you just shut up, right? I'm just sort of, so I think that's really what happened in that. So he did another coup himself. Barney Rami, and wanted him on lockdown. Yeah, it just sounds like Barney. I just don't like. Same as North Korea, like carrying on the way it does, right? Every time it's won by acting like that. I'll just threaten the world with nuclear weapons. Like, how long can you handle that? Being South Korea.
That's right.
You know, like.
But if I'm revving you up all the time, right? You're Kim Jong Il, whatever you call it, and I'm revving you up. I'm your minister for shooting that's been bored lately because I haven't been able to shoot anything, or all my people have been good. They don't want to get hung, or they don't want to get shot. So they're all being. So now I've got nothing to do. I'm bored. So it's like, well, I'll go and advise Kim Il Jong that this is the way that we should be doing it, blah blah blah. This will cause this reaction or whatever. Like originally, yesterday, was supposedly on ABC. Originally they were saying that Kim has declared war on South Korea. Okay, but listening to ABC last night, it was saying that he didn't say that. What he said was stating the obvious. We have had a state of war between South Korea and North Korea for the last 25 years. Okay, so he's just saying that we have got a state of war that's been there for the last 25 years. But now they're all the MSM, the mainstream media has got on board, and now they're all saying that he's declared war. But he didn't really declare war. All he declared was we've been in a perpetual state of war for the last. He put a truth to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's all he did. He was put a truth to it. But then today I'm reading from ABC that he's declared Sovereign open to nuclear attack now. So I don't know if that's just the rest of
They're recalibrating the old nuclear plant.
Yeah, but that was yesterday's news as well. They turned the light back on. But they're saying now that they've actually declared they're going to perform a nuclear attack.
So
That was
Ban
today's
Ki-moon
news.
was saying, like, as the president of the UN, it's his responsibility to stop wars.
Yeah, there may be.
So, and that's exactly who I thought the UN was. That's exactly their role. Is that after hours?
I presume. Presume it'll go to answer machine after 8. Is that 8?
I don't think it was.
Maybe they answered inside.
Maybe.
The people that live here. I don't live here. I don't have to answer phones after hours. During the day I would answer a phone. Like work hours.
Yeah.
No worries. But after hours, number one, I'm not going to answer the phone. After hours at someone else's house now.
Yeah, freaking rings at 5 to 6 at work. I hate it. I don't like the phone at work at all. Like, you're busy as anything and they're ringing. And you can't just pick up the phone because you've got 5 customers there. And you think, why don't they freaking just come in? Like, who do you deal with, the phone or people that are in front of you? You know, sometimes you can work out in between. And when you think, oh, freaking I'll answer it and we'll keep serving this person. And then they want some stupid thing that you have to, the person's, they want Tony or they want whatever, and you're trying to get them and you're trying to serve and nobody's answering and the phone keeps ringing back because you change them over and then to 301, and if somebody doesn't pick it up then it comes back to you again, and sort of ringing back, and you're trying to deal with all that. Yeah, hate the phone.
Me too.
But that's business in general though, isn't it? You've got that straight out there? Yep, so all 4 are still working.
Yeah, well, if I could work out what constitutes a country, that'd be fine.
Okay, so you need Wikipedia to explain what a country is then.
Yeah.
But I think it's more your lack of knowing that stuff than the actual process that's the problem, if you know what I mean.
Well, I just assume a country's a country.
Yeah, it is. I agree. A country is a country. I think the
So
whole
why
world
is it
agrees.
so different?
Because they're all subject to different rules. There's different kinds of countries.
So Jupiter's different than Mars, and Mars is different
Absolutely,
than,
absolutely.
Country?
Huh?
They're
Jupiter's
planets.
not a country, it's a planet.
Yeah, I know. So does Jupiter and Mars, in other words, I cut the middle line, but Peter knew what I was talking about. But you would have. I didn't exactly change. I'm going to planets now. Can I compare Jupiter and Mars? I just did. Like I didn't add Jupiter to Egypt. I added it with Mars. Why call yourself a planet? Why call yourself a country?
Because you are under defined rules. You are that.
That's right, but the rules need to be changed.
There's the rub, I guess. That's the that's the angle you have to follow. As in, first you have to know what constitutes a country.
Yeah.
And if they say that you have to have a president, and the president has to be non-secular and blah blah blah, and this is what creates a country, then I would agree with you. President shouldn't be anything to do with religion, alright? But I think you'll find that ain't the definition of a country.
Well, you look at...
And each country can define their own rules. It's like I'm the leader, I'm the one who defines the rules. Now, if I put shit rules in place, you, my followers, are going to rebel and kill me, aren't you? So I've got to put in fairly good rules that my population will accept.
Right, but it's obviously not working in lots of countries.
No, I disagree. I think it's working. That's why you've got the rebellion. Yeah, the fact that people want to change the rules.
Around.
Yeah. They don't want to.
Dictate to anything.
Yeah.
That's
So,
right.
so they'll change the rules.
Well, they should have been dictated to in the first place if people took countries as what they are.
Yeah, but Hitler should never have killed 4 million Jews. I mean, it's no.
Churchill
What's the
egged
point?
him on too.
Probably held it.
You know, like that was just that era. They just wanted to fight. Like it's
But that's
even now, it's like that's their way. How did people think that? Like when the last election was going on, when John Cain was going for the Republic, it was said they need a war now. Like for John Cain to actually take off, and like in Queensland, what was her name, Anna? Bligh. Yeah, she got credits when that disaster happened. Like disasters are supposed to happen, and that's what creates you as a better leader or something. Then it brings out, like gee, do you only have to react on a crisis to get everybody happy with you? Like that's just wrong, but it boosts them up.
But that's the press, isn't it? You know, it's the press that decide that I'm going to ignore you today, or I'm going to take your worst comment today and air that, rather than your best comment today and air that. You know what I mean? Where I don't like Julia Gillard, so if she says I'm going to give you $100 each, but I'm going to tax you 15% extra to get $86 back, they're going to say Julia Gillard's going to tax you 15% and she's going to take $86 off you. But they will not mention that she's going to give you $100 in this hand and take $86 back in that hand. You know what I mean? It's up to the press that work out what angle they're going to pursue in their story. And if they're slightly anti-Abbott or slightly anti-Gillard, that's the story that that's the story they'll end up with.
For argument's sake, kept going. We're going to be in budget. We all could see that was not just like there's not way possible with him spending it's going out of fashion. There's no tomorrow, and we're going to go to budget. We're going to go. Everybody knew that he wasn't, and then finally he conceded. He's not going to make the budget. Like, we all knew that. So, because he saw it differently, obviously he was wrong and everyone else was right. How could he have not seen the writing on the wall? I don't know. Like, what happens there? Like, just because he says that, but we're all saying this, and then it turns out he can't make the budget, should he be sacked?
I wouldn't think so.
What should happen to him? Like, they keep doing that. They keep telling us what it's like, and then it finds out it all stuffs up. And what do they do? Just talking. We'll do it, and they don't do it. I think they should be held to account.
Yeah, but you can't. That's the problem. You can't vote for anybody else and not get Tony Abbott in as Prime Minister. Because they were all freaking. So if I vote for you, and you only get 20 votes, but you need 1,000 votes to get in, your preferences go to bloody Tony Abbott. Don't they? Rather than Gillard, because you're fighting Gillard. You don't want Gillard
but maybe Abbott won't spend any money.
So I come and I vote for you as an independent, but I'm really voting for Tony Abbott. Even though I'm voting for an independent, I know that there's not a chance you're going to get in. So because you're not going to get in, all your preferences are going to fade to Liberal. So if everyone starts voting independent, for instance, there's going to be a problem because a lot of independents are preferencing Liberals rather than the ALP. So by you going and voting the independent who's not going to get in, because he's not going to get enough votes to get in, but now as the Liberal person who has got 80% of the vote, or say even 30% of the votes.
The person in the government gets it. If you don't vote, it's taken
No, it's not.
the government in power.
No, it's not. It goes to preferences. So you are putting your hand up to vote. You're putting your hand up as a candidate for us to vote for you. You then sign a thing that if Liberals only get 20% of the vote, so you go and work a deal out with the Liberals to say that if ALP wins, Liberal will give you their preferences. If ALP loses, they'll give the Liberals their preferences. Okay, so if ALP get 51 votes and LNP now, if they get 48 votes and you've got 8 votes to an independent, then those 8 votes go to Tony Abbott. Now Tony Abbott's got 47 votes and Julie Gillard's only got 31 votes, so
well, I was always taught
Abbott's
that
man wins.
if you didn't vote, like whoever's in power gets your vote.
No, not at all.
That's what Mick always said.
Preferences. That's why they always talk preferences. Okay, and who's preferencing who? It's like the Greens preference Labor's.
Yeah, but I thought that was at the end. I thought that was at the end when it was counted. Then they can work out two
It's starting
teams.
to get dark outside. It'll be dark within the next half an hour.
Yep.
at most.
Beforehand is when that's all worked out. I just saw that's right in my face on the camera. So yeah, your preferences are worked out before any votes are even cast. So you know already that the local ALP, in September, you'll know by June, July exactly who's preferencing who. Well before the election.
No, I thought you found out after. Well,
Absolutely not.
you'd have to find out after because both after they were trying to.
How do you think they're working it? How do you reckon they're working
Well,
it?
that's how Gillard got it all. Abbott and Gillard both got into Parliament. I mean, but they were on borderline.
They didn't preference.
I know that they ended up getting the Greens wearing the trying to offer
Greens
them
had
the
already
world.
signed up. The Greens, there was no question on
All
Greens.
right, yeah.
Okay, Greens had already
Okay,
made their
but Tony
preferences.
Windsor
He makes no preferences to any of them. And same as the other bloke,
Right,
bloke shot,
yeah.
makes no
And the other
preferences.
one's, oh no,
So he hasn't preferenced anybody. All he's done is I'm accepting my votes and I'm not giving them to anybody. If they don't, so sometimes it wins and sometimes they lose on that.
what about the poker reform? He gave them, they signed up to
Wilkie,
yeah, he signed up to Labor to get what he wanted.
correct, and they backed out.
No, they promised him, he signed it.
Yeah,
And
and they backed out. That's right. Then it was up to his. Now you're given the decision. All right. Now they're not going to follow through with what they
but he's
promised.
still with
Are
them.
you going to back them anymore, or are you not going to back them anymore? And he said, "Well, I'm not going to." Everyone's saying he's not going to get back in.
No, he's not out.
That's right, but I'm saying everyone's saying he's not going to get back in. So if he's stuck with Gillard, he's there for 3 years. The second he pulls support for Gillard, it's a new election.
Yeah.
So that's the other reason why. Like if he'd have pulled out, if he'd have said no, I'm not backing you whatsoever from now on, 100% they would have had to call an election because Julie Gillard didn't have the numbers. It's only the fact that he decided, hang on, if I stay now, I can still be in power, and for the next 3 years, because Gillard promised them from day one that the election was going to be August, September 2011 or 2013. So they knew from day one when the election was going, because Windsor made sure that she agreed that it was going to be a full election term. It wasn't going to be a half election term. It was going to be, so Gillard promised them to start with she was going to go the whole hog. She's going to go the whole way. So, and there was that promise that made them go, all right, well, we'll give you full support. But they know at any time they can pull that support. But the second they pull that support, Gillard's down. Gillard hasn't got the numbers.
That's right, that's
so
exactly right.
It's time for election now rather than wait till September. So they're out for themselves. Every one of them's out for themselves. Do you go from not being elected and being a nothing again, or stay in power? So you support Gillard and you're still in power. you don't support Gillard and you're out of there, and it's up to another election to decide whether you're
So that's
whether
the
you're
problem.
worthy
It
of
is.
having it
It's
again.
not about Australia. It's about them. We go to
My
China.
windows are opened and everything.
Well, she's the boss of me. Why don't I boss you around?